Mom, can I go to the bathroom?
Dude, did you just call the teacher Mom?
What? No, of course not.
Yeah, you did. I heard it.
Listen, Jerry, if you tell anyone what I just said, I will steal your dog, and you'll never see him again!
I'm telling you my most embarrassing school stories for one reason and one reason only, which is to make sure you don't make the same mistakes I did. Because if you do, you might end up like me. And you do not want that to happen, because I'm pretty sure the things I'm about to tell you are the reason why I've never had a girlfriend. And maybe also because I don't know how to talk to girls. But anyways, one day, I had to use the bathroom during lunch. Now, if you've ever gone to school, which sometimes I'm convinced that some of you never do, but if you actually did, you would know that using the school bathroom during lunch is one of the most dangerous decisions a person can make. It goes like this. Swimming with sharks, pretty dangerous. Cave diving, very dangerous and dumb, but going to the bathroom during lunch, extremely dangerous, life-threatening even. But on this particular day, I had no choice. It was either go to the bathroom right now or show up to 5th period with Dookie running down my leg, which wouldn't have been the first time that happened, but I didn't want it to happen again. So I go into the bathroom, pick my stall, and try to be as quiet as a mouse while I'm in there hoping no one notices me. I'm treating this like a stealth mission, and it's going fine at first, but about 2 minutes into me being in the stall, a swarm of kids start funneling into the bathroom, and way more than usual. I can hear the bathroom getting louder and louder. There's a buzz going around. So I'm sitting in my stall like, okay, something weird is definitely going on. But I would get my answer immediately as to what was actually happening because the bathroom door swings open and this one kid walks in with the speaker and he says,
"Who's ready for the memorial?"
And every single kid who crammed into that tiny bathroom starts going absolutely crazy, screaming, cheering, and I'm sitting in my stall like,
Memorial? What memorial? We're in a school bathroom.
So I'm trying to think about what memorial happens next to a urinal, but then I hear what's coming out of the speaker. It's Juice WRLD, and the realization hits me like a truck. This was the day right after Juice WRLD passed away. Rest in peace. And these kids had organized a full memorial service in the bathroom during lunch for Juice WRLD. Now look, normally I probably would have joined the memorial with them. I like Juice WRLD's music, but in this specific scenario, I was just thinking, you have got to be kidding me. The one day I go number 2 during lunch, they're having a memorial in the school bathroom. Out of all the places you could hold a tribute, the gym, a classroom, literally anywhere outside, these kids chose the boys' bathroom. Now here's the thing, if I could have just stayed quiet in my stall and let the whole thing play out, it would have been completely fine. And that was the plan. But that plan fell apart almost immediately. Because when I said these kids were going crazy, I meant they were actually physically going crazy. To the point where they started throwing toilet paper everywhere, someone pulled a spray can out of their inventory, all while Juice WRLD is bumping in the background. And then it happened. I let out what I thought was going to be a silent fart, but it wasn't. It was very, very loud. And it echoed from the toilet, so everyone in the bathroom heard it. And for the first time, it got kind of quiet in the bathroom. But after about 3 seconds, I'm thinking, okay, maybe everyone's gonna leave now. But then I see it. A shadow. Something is rising up over the door, moving in what genuinely feels like slow motion. And I'm looking up at it, trying to process what I'm seeing in real time. And then it registers in my brain. It's a trash can. Some kids picked up the actual school bathroom trash can, the huge one that sits in the corner, and they launched it over the top into my stall. It lands directly on me. I don't need to describe in detail the contents of a school bathroom trash can during lunchtime. You already know. Whatever you're picturing was inside that trash can is probably accurate and 10 times worse than that. And when this trash can lands, everyone starts going crazy again. Back to singing Juice WRLD, screaming. Of course, I want to throw up immediately. And here's what made the whole situation even better. I wasn't even done.
QScan, QR code reader. Try it now.
Algebra, accounting, statistics.
Once you get a taste for something different,
I'll try ice skating.
different is all you'll live for. Try it. Try different. And get a hit of freshness.
Using the restroom. I still had some food in my system I needed to get out, but I couldn't. I had to get out of that bathroom as quick as possible. So I finish up the best I could and somehow prepare myself to walk out of this stall. And when I finally push that door open and step out, covered in something that will probably give me a disease later down the line, every kid in that bathroom screams again. Now they screamed even louder than they were for the memorial. They're all jumping on me, giving me high fives while still singing Juice WRLD. Even though I've never felt more disgusting in my entire life, there was something beautiful about that sense of community I felt in that moment. But still, I immediately went home to take a shower, didn't even go to my next class. Now there's 2 types of embarrassments you can go through. Physical embarrassment, like the trash can, or mental embarrassment, which is what I experienced one time on yearbook picture day. And before I get into this, you need to understand the level of seriousness that yearbook picture day carried in my household. My mom treated this day like my wedding. The night before, she would pick out my outfit. The morning of, she would do my hair. She would not let me leave the house unless I looked perfect. And the reason the stakes were so high is because she was sending these photos to everyone. Every grandparent, parent, every cousin, every dog, even that one creepy uncle everyone has, which I wonder what he would do with those photos. But basically every person who had ever met me or heard my name or been in the same room as me was probably getting those photos sent to them. So picture day morning, my mom gets me all ready and I'm walking through school being super careful. I'm making sure no one gets within an arm's reach of my hair to possibly mess it up. But then lunch happens, and at lunch on this day, I had pesto pasta. Sounds delicious, right? Well, it was. So I eat my food, no big deal. Lunch ends, and right after lunch was the time where my class was going to take our school picture. But here's exactly where everything went wrong. Because for some reason, it did not go through my mind once to check how I looked before taking that picture. I just assumed I looked exactly the same way I did when I originally got to school. So I get to the photographer, step up, smile, and the photographer takes the picture in about 3 seconds. I leave thinking I'm looking like handsome Squidward, but fast forward a couple months and our yearbooks come out. And yearbook day was always a time where the school is buzzing. People walking around, signing each other's books, flipping through the photos. So I grab mine, and of course, first thing I do is flip straight to my page. I'm looking for all the last names with V on it so I can find myself. And I ain't gonna lie, your boy was looking fresh in his picture. Except for one thing. Right in the center of my smile, shining bright, is a piece of pesto. Not a small speck you'd miss if you weren't looking for it. Nah, this thing literally looked neon green compared to everything else. And it was in my teeth, in a yearbook, every student at school had a copy of. If you flip to the page this picture was on, the first thing your eyes would go to is that piece of pesto. So kids are all coming up to me saying stuff like,
Nice yearbook photo, Tyler.
yeah, I'm talking specifically about you, Gerald. Don't think I forgot what you did that day. Also, I heard about your grandma. Rest in peace. But anyways, I was getting cooked by everyone in school, and deservedly so. They all saw the pic. You would think most people wouldn't even flip to the page my picture was on, since my last name starts with V. But no, everyone saw it. But that wasn't even the worst part, because like I said, my school picture was way more important to my mom than it was to me. So they gave me the pictures my mom ordered, and I had to bring them home to her. I knew this was gonna be bad. I tried to think of ways to not give her the photos, like maybe on my way home from school. I got jumped, and the person stole the photos. But who's jumping a 12-year-old boy? So I just accepted. I have to give her these photos. I hand her the envelope. She opens it, looking super excited to see her boy with his amazing smile. But she pulls the picture out and goes like this.
Okay, let's see.
No words. And she didn't even need to say any. Her facial expressions did all the talking. And if you're wondering, no, she definitely did not send those pictures out to family and friends. Did any of our family or friends actually care about ever getting the pictures? I doubt it. But still, my mom did it. And if it's important to my mom, it's important to me. But what wasn't important to me at all at the time was actually doing my schoolwork. I know it's bad. Don't be like me. But because I didn't care about doing the work, to pass the time in class, me and my friends would pass notes to each other. We'd write something on a piece of paper, ball it up, and throw it to each other from across.
Okay, I truly thought that I was bad at money until I found a money app that makes me feel so good. Monarch Money helps me visualize my finances in such a satisfying way. Like, I don't feel as bad about my spending when the breakdown is this beautiful. I don't feel so bad looking at my spending when this is what it's like to review the transactions. Hey, look. Whoa. Whoa, a little bit of swat. Oh, look at that. If you want just a better experience with your money, I highly recommend Monarch. Get 50% off at monarchmoney.com.
You can look at the same evidence 100 times and still miss it. If you don't know what you're looking for.
911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I just got home, and I think she's still in there. Can you be more specific? Oh my god, I need help. It's everywhere. Ma'am, stay calm. We have a unit on the way.
Territorial disputes over cosmetic jurisdiction, or vanity vandalism. That's what they called me in for.
A new study shows that makeup-cluttered sinks are straining relationships across America.
Sounded ridiculous.
Hey guys, follow up on day 17 of fighting for literally 1 inch of counter space. Look at this. Girl, that's mine!
I kept thinking, how was this even a crime? Yeah, I just couldn't wrap my head around the kind of trauma they were describing. Until I saw the carnage for myself. Maya and Dante Formosa. Newlyweds, one bathroom. And a vanity we on the force classify as a blush-forward environment with no sign of de-escalation.
It's hard to talk about. The first time, I thought home intruder. The second time, I thought we were being targeted. By the fifth time, I realized this was all Maya.
I don't know why Dante is crashing out over this. Like, what exactly did he think I was doing in there? Everyone knows my blush game is elite. And that night was drag queen bingo. There's a certain standard.
We made eye contact as they were taking her away for interrogation.
4972 West 21st Street, number 3.
Her eyes look dead. No remorse. Just a void.
Wait, what did he say about my eyes? Dead eyes? It's called aura, Dante. Look it up.
This marriage was hanging by a thread. I told the Bureau I needed backup. Warrants, wiretaps, surveillance vans, call in the cavalry. Instead, they sent me a shrink. A cosmetic shrink.
The Federal Cosmetic Crime Task Force had identified a national epidemic. But you don't stop an epidemic one case at a time. You identify the reason it's happening in the first place. That's where I came in. This many products suggests attachment.
Attachment to my face?
To control. To identity.
Wow, you're really building a case here.
You have to understand I'm on your side. I don't look for blame. I look for behavior.
We were chasing our tails. Maya clammed up and another relationship was circling in the drain over a damn sink. That's when Sparrow flipped the script on the whole operation.
There was one person who understood cosmetic behavior better than anyone. In the early aughts, no one shaped faces like Tigris Archimedes.
You're done. Perfection.
He challenged the entire cosmetic order, experimenting with products in ways no one had dared before.
Azul, Azul, I need the Azul!
Blush as lipstick, eyeshadow as contour, highlighter mixed with foundation. One time, he bronzed Giselle's clavicle with lip gloss. Next thing, everyone's declaring it collarbone season.
Tigris! What's next for you? The dawn of a new beauty era is upon us. There will be a reckoning.
And then one day, in 2004, he just vanished. Everyone remembers the day Tigris disappeared.
I was in my squad car on parking patrol, eating a breakfast double-double.
I was crushed. Maybe deep down, I chose behavioral science to figure out why people like Tigris Archimedes do the things they do. It took some digging, but eventually, we tracked him down.
Mr. Archimedes, I'm Dr. Erica Sparrow with the Federal Cosmetics Crime Task Force. We could use your help. Could you take a look at these photos and tell me what you see?
You're profiling her soul when you should be profiling the night. Layering matters, lighting shifts, touch-ups happen, and the cheeks cast the final vote. But there's a method to her madness. Everything has a purpose.
What do you mean, everything has a purpose? What purpose?
Just look at her vanity, Dr. Sparrow. It's all right there. I can't really concentrate. Your lip color is off, and I can do something. Come with me.
Everything has a purpose. I knew I was missing something, but what? What did Tigris know? And then it clicked. Tell me about this, Maya. Why do you have so much makeup? What is all this blush for?
Sunset blush. Ombre blush. Boyfriend blush. Are you taking notes?
Show me.
Okay.
She turned that interrogation room into a vanity vandal crime scene right in front of us.
It suddenly made so much sense. This wasn't about excess. This was about access. When makeup is expensive, you're restricted to what you can afford. But make it accessible and everyone is free to layer, adjust, experiment, express their true selves.
And there you go. That's the look.
But this is what Tigris was trying to do all along.
Mr. Archimedes, what made you leave all those years ago?
After 2004, the world didn't need Tigris Archimedes anymore. Now they had ELF. Innovation, accessibility, everywhere at once. No, I did not disappear, Dr. Sparrow. I stepped aside, watching from the sideline as the beauty revolution finally reached everyone.
Dr. Sparrow and I finally got on the same page. We laid out the board and followed the paper trail. Once the receipts started talking, the mess turned into a narrative. Price is so low, anyone can get their hands on the stuff. When makeup's that accessible, the mess is inevitable. By the end, we both agreed on who the real culprit was.
I never understood why she needed so many of the same thing. But I get it now. I mean, what's she supposed to do? Maybe Elf should stop making it so easy for everyone. I mean, come on, Elf. Does it have to be so affordable? Seriously, though, does it?
See? I told you it wasn't me. I don't have a problem.
Honey, come on now. We talked about this. How many lip oils do you have?
What?
Tell him the truth.
Not that many. Only like 10. But they're all different. I need them all.
Thank you, boo.
Room. This class was super boring, and our teacher never let us talk in it, so this was basically the only way to communicate. The only problem was, me and my friend sat on opposite sides of the classroom, so whenever our teacher wasn't looking, we would quickly throw the papers to each other. All the students in this class knew about it, and they would help us to make sure we never got caught. If our throw wasn't accurate enough, they would finish the job. And my friend and I weren't saying anything important in these notes. We weren't asking questions that actually mattered. No, most of the time, it was just something really stupid written inside it that would make the other person laugh when opening it. So one day, we're doing this, but I miscalculated how long our teacher would turn around and look at the whiteboard. Because when she wasn't looking, I threw the paper to my friend, but then she turned back around while it was in midair, and she saw him catch it. So she's got this angry look on her face. She walks over, picks up the paper that was just thrown, and in that specific moment, I'm just thinking one thing. Please do not read what's on that note out loud. Please just take it, look at it privately, punish us, whatever. Just do not read the words on that paper to the entire class. What did she do? She read the note to the entire class. She holds it up and reads out loud exactly what was written on it. And you know what I wrote? I think I'm on my period right now, bro. That was the message we decided was so important that throwing it across the classroom during class was worth the risk. Now, without context, it sounds like I should be checked into a mental hospital. But that was the entire joke. Imagine opening up a message your friend sneakily threw to you thinking it must be important. But then you open it up and it just said,
Instant happiness is here at Rent-A-Center. You could get instantly approved for up to $4,000. Shop for anything you want
I'm on my period, bro. The only problem was the teacher reading it and all the students didn't have any of that context. So the class completely loses it. They go fully uncontrollable laughing. And we cannot say a single thing because there's no explanation that makes us look better. We just had to sit there in silence while the teacher stared at us with an expression I can only describe as exhaustion. She didn't even know how to respond to what she was holding. She didn't know what punishment fitted, and that note became a piece of class history. And for the rest of the year, randomly, someone would just repeat what I said in that note in the middle of a quiet moment. It was like the class's new catchphrase, and whenever it was said, the class would always react. We didn't really get punished for doing that, but I definitely did get punished for this next story, which is about how I got caught cheating in the most spectacular way possible. This isn't just your typical boring cheating on a test story. No, because one time I had a test coming up that I really needed to pass. Not just scrape by on, but like I needed to get an A+ because I was in trouble academically, and this test mattered. But if there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I just cannot get myself to study. Never been able to do it. So I was in a predicament. I needed to crush this test, but I couldn't do that without studying. But I wasn't going to study. Then I came up with what I believed was a genuinely brilliant plan. I would write all the answers on the back label of my water bottle and just read them off the bottle during the test. In my head, this was perfect. The bottle sits on my desk looking exactly like a normal water bottle. I glance at it casually. Nobody notices anything because it's just a water bottle. But what I did not account for was the fact that my teacher had been teaching for years, and she had watched teenagers try to cheat in every possible way imaginable. So test day comes, notes are written on my water bottle, it's sitting on my desk, and I'm working through the questions. And honestly, it's going pretty well. The teacher's at her desk, the room is quiet, nobody's looking at me. I'm starting to think I might actually get away with this. But then she gets up from her desk and announces she needs to step outside for a second to check on something. I hear her walk toward the door behind us. I then hear the door open, and then I hear it close. So I'm thinking, okay, teacher's gone, which is great because now I can rip the label off my bottle and see the answers more clearly and get a bunch of the questions done while she's gone. So that's what I do. I'm not just glancing at the water bottle anymore. I rip the notes completely off the back of it, unfold them, and I'm holding them open in my hands. I'm feeling confident, but then something weird starts happening. Kids nearby start looking at me. Every few seconds, one of them glances over, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Why does everyone around me keep looking at me right now? So I finally turn around to check, and my teacher is standing directly behind my desk, looking straight down at me. Wait, but hold on. I heard her leave the classroom, and I never heard her come back in. So what was going on? Well, according to my friend that sits in the back of class, she never actually left the room. She opened the door, let it shut, and then came walking up behind me to watch me cheat. She was standing behind me, watching me cheat for 2 whole minutes. And here's the part that makes me realize how badly I executed this. She knew I was cheating before she even got up from her desk. That's why she pretended leaving the classroom in the first place. So then she put her hand out, said, "Give it to me." I hand over my test and I take the 0. She was playing chess, I was playing checkers. It's crazy how the type of teacher you have can really make or break how you do in that class. And that was especially true in my Spanish class. Because before I tell you this next painfully embarrassing story, I gotta give you some background. I sucked in Spanish class. Okay, that's all the background. But anyways, one time we had to do a video project for it. The assignment was simple. Make a short video of yourself acting out a real-world scenario in Spanish. Pick a situation, film yourself doing it, speak Spanish the whole time, turn it in, and then present it to the class. It had to be 2 minutes long. My scenario was having dinner with my friends. Easy concept, very manageable, should have required almost no effort to do correctly. So I filmed the whole video with my friends, and we do it pretty quickly. I actually started to think to myself,
dang, this was a lot easier than I thought.
So I get to school the next day, and it's my turn to play the video. I'm feeling good thinking everyone in class is gonna love this. I'm probably gonna get such a good grade. But then the teacher actually puts on my video, and there's one problem with it. Because when I start talking in the video, everyone gives me a weird look, especially the teacher. I have no idea why until I start paying a little more attention. And that's when I realized I filmed the entire thing talking in English. Not a single part was in Spanish. It wasn't like I slipped up and accidentally said, "Yo, pass the salt," instead of "Pasame el sal." I don't even know if that's the correct translation. I just Googled that. But point is, the entire video, start to finish, was in 100% English. No Spanish at all. Cero. See what I did there? And here's the part that I genuinely cannot explain. I never realized I was even doing it. It wasn't because of laziness that I filmed it in English or because I didn't know Spanish. I mean, well, I don't, but the teacher is just sitting there looking at the screen with an expression that goes beyond confusion. And what excuse can I even make for why I did this?
Oh, sorry, teacher. You just need to press the translate button and then it'll be in Spanish. Got you.
That won't work. The truly absurd part is that I still got a C. I got a C on a Spanish video that contained 0 Spanish, which I think was just because my teacher felt more sad for me than anything and gave me that grade out of pity. But to be honest, if I actually did film the whole thing in Spanish, I probably still would have gotten a C. So honestly, I don't even regret doing that. Now imagine this. It's your first day of school. You walk into your first class of the day, find a seat, and sit through the entire period. Nothing unusual. And then you go to the rest of your classes. Then you go home thinking the first day went totally fine. And the next morning, you come back to school, walk into that same classroom, and you're about to sit down until you notice your seat from yesterday is taken. Somebody's in your spot. You think this is kind of weird because this class has assigned seats. So you go up to the teacher and say,
"Hey, I think someone's sitting in my seat.
And then the teacher looks over at you and asks for your name. So you give it to her. But then she says, I don't see your name on my class roster. So you say,
I'm sorry, I am in this class. I was literally here yesterday.
but she responds with,
Well, you weren't supposed to be here yesterday either. You're not enrolled in this class.
but the part that's not making sense is when you pull out your schedule, it says you're supposed to be in room 12. So you ask the teacher what room you're in, and
Q-Scan, QR code reader. Download today and get started.
Whether you need to mark a potentially lethal hazard, or you're just posting a simple reminder, we've got the best safety labels available on the internet. Our label experts have done the research to offer you thousands of OSHA, ANSI, and HAZCOM compliant designs. Or customize a label with one of our simple templates. It just takes a few seconds and allows you to specifically address your unique safety concerns. And our labels are built to last, with laminates and adhesives designed to maintain their integrity even in the harshest environments. Shipping is speedy. In fact, most orders qualify for same-day free shipping. Let us help you make your workspace manageable, organized, and most importantly, safe. MySafetyLabels.com.
she says 12. B, which apparently is something different from just room 12. So you ask her where room 12 without the B is, and she says it's the one right next to this one. So you walk into that classroom next door 5 minutes late, and the teacher goes,
Ah, you must be Tyler.
and you say yes, because that's your name, and she says,
Tyler, why did you have an unexcused absence yesterday and you're late today?
and you say, you weren't absent, you were just 20 feet over and separated by a wall. She doesn't ask you to elaborate, she just tells you to go sit down. Well, that's what happened to me on my first day one year. And from that point on, I had PTSD anytime I tried walking into class on the first day. I was always thinking I walked into the wrong one. The worst part was, it looked like I just ditched on my first day. Now, you may be thinking this happened because I'm dumb, but if you think that was dumb, you're gonna think I'm a lot dumber after what I'm gonna tell you next. Because I sat beside a girl in one of my classes who I had never met before. Didn't even know she existed before we had this class together. And we were in these seats for a whole semester. So of course, we got to know each other a little bit. Her name was Jessica, and we talked during class, but that was about it. But there was something really weird I noticed about sitting next to her. Every time I would get to class, I'd go,
Hey, Jessica.
and she'd give me this confused look every single day. And I'd always think to myself, does she just hate me or something? Is this how everyone reacts on the inside when they see me? She just can't hide it? Then one day, about halfway through the school year, we're sitting in class and the teacher gets a phone call. She picks it up, has a short conversation, hangs up, and then she looks out at the room and says,
Mary, they need you in the office.
you will never believe what happened next. The girl right next to me, Jessica, stands up and starts heading for the door. And I'm watching her walk out, trying to figure out what just happened. Because the teacher said Mary, but Jessica stood up. So I start scanning the room, trying to figure out if there was maybe another person also named Mary who also got up at the exact same time. But I'm not finding one. I'm going through it in my head. Did the teacher actually say Jessica and I somehow just misheard that for Mary? Well, the next day, I come in and Jessica is sitting at her desk. So I say,
Hey, why did the teacher call you Mary yesterday?
and she looks me in the eyes and goes,
Because that's my name.
so I say,
What? No, your name is Jessica.
No, my name is Mary.
and I can feel the gears in my head start to turn for once in my life trying to solve this mystery. So I ask her,
If your name is Mary, why have you been letting me call you Jessica this whole time? And also, why did I think your name was Jessica in the first place?
and she just tells me that on the first day when I originally called her Jessica, she was gonna correct me, but the moment passed too quickly before she got the chance. And then a week went by of me calling her that, and at that point, it felt too awkward to correct me after that long. So she just kept answering whenever I called her Jessica. Every class, every day, for 4 months, she answered to a name that was not hers, rather than having one mildly uncomfortable conversation. And honestly, if I was Mary, I would have done the same thing. But then I asked her,
Wait, why did I think your name was Jessica in the first place?
I have no idea.
must have been the wind that told me Jessica was her name, because I still don't know where I pulled that from. This was a painful experience, I can't even lie. But at least this one was just one girl that I had an awkward encounter with. Because what if I told you there was a scenario where I got embarrassed by literally the whole school? What I'm about to say makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up just thinking about it because of how much I cringe. So every school year, there was 1 month where my school had a slow pitch softball competition at lunch. There was 8 teams and I was on one of them. And during this month, everyone would go watch the games during lunch. I can't even describe to you just how big of an event this was at my school. Think of it like the World Series, except the stakes were even higher. Because instead of winning money and a championship trophy, what was on the line was your entire social reputation. And as you all know, in school, being the most athletic kid means you're the most popular. It's why every kid wanted to be fast when they were younger. Well, That, and so they can run away if a creepy old dude ever tries chasing them. No, that only happened to me. Okay, whatever. Point is, whatever you did in that softball game became what you were known for. If you did good, you were now popular. If you blew it, bye-bye any chance of being perceived as cool. But luckily for me, I was good at softball. Like genuinely. At least compared to all the other kids at my school. And my team was really good. So we ended up making it to the championship game, which literally every student at the school would come to watch. No exaggeration. This was honestly the most important thing I had done in my life up to that point. But the day of the championship game came, and I'm thinking, this is my moment. This is where everything changes. I had already played the whole thing out in my head like a movie. This is how it would go. I come up to bat, I see the pitch, I crush the pitch, we win the game, and I start dating the prettiest girl at school. That was the vision, but apparently my eyesight wasn't 20/20 because the game starts and it's close the whole time. I'm doing decent, but nothing special. But eventually, we get to the final inning and we're tied. And guess who was coming up to bat? Tyler Vitelli, with a chance to walk off the game and become the hero. So when I step up to the plate, the crowd gets quiet, knowing I could win it right here. And I could just feel that something big is about to happen. The moment is exactly what I pictured. And I just make the decision right then and there that I am going to hit a home run. No doubt about it. The pitch comes in, and I'm looking at it like this. Every muscle in my body is tensed up, getting ready to put all my force into this swing. And that's what I do. Swing with everything I have. Harder than I've ever swung at anything in my entire life. But right at the exact moment of contact, I miss. I swung and missed at the ball. You might think that's not embarrassing, but I left out one minor detail. During the swing, while everyone in the school is completely silent watching me, I farted. Not a little one. Not the kind you can play off with a cough. No, it was just like this. And after I swing and miss, the crowd, which had been sitting there quietly, waiting for this great moment to happen, absolutely explode with laughter. Full on, there is no coming back from this laughter. And I'm standing there at the plate, and I know in my bones that it doesn't matter what I do next. It doesn't matter if I win the game. It doesn't matter if I strike out. This is the only thing that anyone is gonna remember about this game. I was right. For the rest of that school year, that was what I was known for. They called it the fart heard around the world. And what did I do when the next pitch came? I grounded out, and we ended up losing anyway. So this was basically the worst day of my life. From this point on, I made a vow. I would never, ever, for the rest of my life, fart again.
That winning feeling you love? Bring it everywhere you go with the Hollywood Casino app. Your next big thrill is just a tap away.